All right, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Wealth Building for Dummies podcast. My name is Kyle Demian, and I'm joined here with Renji Matthew on today's episode. And today we're going to be talking about how much money you should have to hire a financial advisor, or when you should look into hiring a financial advisor. And short answer, as we're going into this, and I guess most importantly, most people think that you need to have like hundreds of thousands of dollars saved up before you ever go get financial advice. But we're going to say that's not the case. And you should find, different people throughout the different phases of your life, because there's different levels of financial advisors, just as there's different levels of the money game, right? So Renji, kind of help us off. Let's dive in. What would you say if someone told you, how much money do I need to have to hire a financial advisor? Or when should I start to look at it? Like, what's your answer?
Well, I usually say you might actually not need a financial advisor, but it
Yep.
really depends on your goals. So let's say you're really into getting into real estate or something passive like that, but you're talking to a financial advisor that doesn't know anything about real estate. That's probably not the best person you want to talk to. You want to talk to a real estate investor that's doing exactly what you want to do, right? And so you want someone that's a mentor that would be willing to teach you stuff that they've gone through and they've learned to help you get to the same position. So, but a financial advisor, if you're looking at long-term investment strategies like for retirement or like if there's financial changes in your life that's happened, let's say life changes happen like marriage, divorce, birth of a child, you got some type of inheritance, and you need to know what to do with that, and you are not traditionally about investing into something passive, then it's good. It's a good idea to have a financial advisor because they can show you what all's out there. Because one of the most important things is the financial education that you might need to get into whatever you need to do. If you don't have the basic financial education to get into what you're trying to get into or go align to what your goals are, then if there's not someone to help you get through that, then you're not going to be able to make it to your goal. Or you might make it to your goal, but it might just be a messy way to get to your goal. So a financial advisor is good to have for those reasons, just to give you advice on if you're trying to get into something, because there might be stuff you might not be thinking about, right? There might be things that, especially if it's a financial advisor that has a lot of experience, they might know things that you don't even think about that might be detrimental to what you're trying to get into. So there's different things like that, like tax strategies. There's, different ways you can keep money to yourself. There's different things that a financial advisor can help you with. So that's my
Absolutely.
long-winded answer, I guess.
No, that's good. And we've talked about it before. We're not taught about money in school. So you should always have at least somebody on your side to help you make financial decisions. And maybe it's not a financial advisor right off the bat, but maybe it's like your parents, right? And maybe after your parents or maybe, and here's another thing, like you talked about mentors. Whoever you are going to for advice should be in a position or should have knowledge to help you get to the position that you want to go and where you want to be. So like for me, fresh out of high school and college, I turned to my parents for financial advice because that's who I had on my side. But then with financial education, like you talked about, I started learning about assets and investing, and I wanted to eventually get into real estate. And I knew that my parents had never been in real estate before. So if I ever went to ask them about how do I invest in real estate, they probably would have told me, oh, it's risky, don't do it. We don't know. That's probably not the right path. And obviously that's not a good person to go to for advice. So we had to find, and we've got, very similar paths. We had to find mentors that have done what we wanted to do. And then once you find a mentor, follow them, and mentors are there for a couple of reasons. Number one, to help you avoid the mistakes that they've made on their path to save you time and money and probably some, sweat and tears, right? But also to give you the ideas of how to actually implement and make it happen. So whether it's your parents, mentors, or even if you're just looking for savings and investing for retirement, then it may make sense for you to go and get a financial advisor. But I think the whole idea is you should have a third person, independent point of view. That's, not you, not your spouse, and someone that can just give you a logical viewpoint on what's going to make the most sense for you. When money is a very emotional topic and subject for people, right? So when you're emotional about something, your logic tends to go down. It's like a inverse seesaw, right? So when you're less emotional, your logic goes up. That's why you need to have somebody that's a third person point of view, like we said, parents, mentor, or financial advisor, for people to help you make logical decisions when it comes to your money. Not only that, but these other individuals can give you, accountability, help you with, implementing your goals. And then lastly, just other ideas that you may not even have thought of. Right. So with that, Renji, what else do you have to add, and what are your other thoughts on that?
Yeah, going along the lines of what you said with the parents. Yeah, when I started going to college and moved away for college and stuff, I had to go to my parents to ask them about how they do certain things, right? But then other than buying their personal home, they didn't get into real estate investing and stuff like that, like I did. So, like you said, they're not the ones to go ask about that, right? So I found other investors that aligned with the goals that I wanted to get to, and those were the ones I took as mentors. But yeah, if I wanted to ask about parenting, my parents would be who I would go to, right? So to be honest, my parents are the reasons that I got into doing what I'm doing now, because my dad came to me when they were retiring several years ago, asking me if I knew about retirement accounts and stuff like that. So I've been more of a advisor for them. So it depends on where you're at in your life, what life changes you're going through, what your goals are. Because sometimes people get financial advisors because they just don't have the time or interest to manage what they have. So they go to the financial advisor before they make a quick change, or like if they want to change something about their contributions, that's why they have the financial advisor. So it depends on what you need the financial advisor for or mentor for, what you're trying to get to, what your end goal is with that, and what type of investment you're getting into also, because not all financial advisors do everything, right? So
Yeah,
yeah, so it really depends on your goals and where you're trying to get to.
absolutely. And the last thing I think we'll talk about, and then we can wrap up, this show, is you don't necessarily need to have, thousands of dollars saved up. There are different financial advisors for different levels. And here's one thing I've always said, in business, is the answer is always no unless you ask, and that goes for especially this. So you feel free to search it up, Google it, or reach out to people on social media. Social media has become a big presence, or a big part of our lives. Obviously, we do this podcast, but we're also on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, consistently posting content. There's other advisors out there doing the same thing. So, find someone that you like and just simply,
Mhm.
send them a message. Or if you find somebody online, give them a call and see if there are any requirements to work with them. Some financial advisors may have requirements, others won't, but simply do your research. But you don't have to, already have $100,000 saved up to be able to work with somebody. But like we said, you never know unless you ask or unless you seek out the information, but you definitely should, right? And so
Yeah.
with that, Renji, anything else you want to wrap us up with for today?
I was gonna say, some will charge you, but here's some free advice: save, like
Yeah.
save for emergencies. I think that's one thing that every financial advisor, even if they're not a financial advisor, every mentor will say. Because learned from my experiences. Growing up, I didn't save like I should, and when emergencies came across, where are you going to get the money from if you didn't save? So
Yeah.
that would be something that everyone should do: save for 3 to 6 months of expenses. That way, then when you make extra, now you have money to invest in whatever you want to. Otherwise, yeah, like Kyle said, you might not need a financial advisor. So, um, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's all I gotta say.
Awesome. And with that, one thing Renji did mention earlier too is, just having somebody on your side for financial education. And we talk all the times about how we aren't taught about money in schools, college, or anything. So that's why Renji and I went ahead and we created a community and a course that's all based on financial education. So if you guys are maybe looking for a place to start, we'll have the link below this video where you can join our school community and other wealth builders that are in our community. We just launched it, and we've got probably 4 to 5 hours or so, I think, of content on there. If not, we will, because we're still filming and adding more into our community. But you guys are looking for a place to go to learn the basics of money if you're just getting started, or maybe you've already, you kind of know the basics, but you want to scale and start to learn how to build wealth. That's what we're doing inside of our community. It is free, and we'll have that linked below so you guys can check that out. And with that, I think that's it, right? Anything else you want to add? Cool.
Nope, that's it.
Awesome. So if you guys got anything good out of this podcast, make sure to leave your comments below. If you have any questions that you want us to cover in a future episode, leave that below as well. We do check our comments, and this question's come from someone before or somewhere. So we do take your questions and then use that to help us create content that at the end of the day is going to help you learn how money works and allow you to build wealth efficiently. So thank you guys for subscribing and tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode. Take care.